Hi guys, today I'm here with an e.l.f. haul and try on. I did an e.l.f. haul about 2 weeks ago. Now it hasn't been long, but that was an order that for some reason I hadn't hauled since February of 2018. So if you're curious to see that, it was also a try on. I will link to that down below. Today I'm going to be talking about some newer products that have launched on e.l.f., a bunch of skincare and some makeup. And no, I did not get my hands on that GD Putty Primer. I was waiting for that to come in stock. When it came in stock, one of the skincare items that I wanted was out of stock, and by the time it came back in, the putty primer was gone, and I was like, I've had enough. I wanted to get the new concealer, so here we are. If you're curious about my hair, it's very big today, and I'm trying something a little bit different. I actually let my hair air dry with absolutely no product in it, and it wasn't kind of the plan, but I'm kind of into it, and I feel like a lot of the time we spend so much time trying to make our hair look a different way, and I spent a lot of time hating my curls, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna film a video. So it's very, very fluffy today. I don't feel 100% comfortable with it, but in a way I also kind of love it. So anyways, enough preamble. Let's go ahead and get started. There was a couple of things from e.l.f. that really caught my eye and kind of encouraged me to want to place this order. One is the concealer that I mentioned, but the other was when this skincare line launched. And I gotta say, a lot of it had to do with the packaging, but it's also very affordable, and a lot of the ingredients really kind of intrigued me as well. So this is the entire line. I purchased it as a collection. I think you get a 20% discount on it if you purchase it in like the collection of 4 items. So it is the this is the Super Clarify, a cleanser with clarifying niacinamide. Niacinamide is excellent if you have an oilier skin type, if you have larger pores, if you have acne. It's a really nice ingredient. So it says, oh, the packaging is so bright, I literally have to do this. It says it helps to maintain moisture content, tone, and clarify, and it's a nice gel cleanser. I have used this line a couple of times. First time that I used it, I did wake up with a couple, or not even wake up, immediately after I had a couple of bumps on my skin, so I need to continue playing with it. I generally don't get breakouts or reactions from skincare or makeup. It's more of a hormonal thing, but I will need to keep playing with it. I am going out of town, so I haven't had a lot of time to play with it, but overall the ingredients seem very promising. Then their toner, it says it has, like, how old am I that I need to be like doing this? But it's just like, it's really bright with my lights. It says it is a BHA AHA cleanser, which really kind of intrigued me. I love acids on my skin. I feel like they do a really good job smoothing the skin, brightening the skin, depending on the acid you're using. So this has alpha hydroxy acids from fruit acids, brightens complexion, and provides a gentle chemical exfoliation. So keep in mind, if you are going to incorporate something like this into your routine, to be careful about what other acids are going to be following up, because this is an exfoliating toner, so this will count as your exfoliator. Generally, I only like to include 1 in my routine. I don't have particularly sensitive skin, but you also don't want to overdo it. So this is a really nice way to incorporate acids into your routine if you're looking to do that. If you've never done it before, if you're looking for an easy way to do it, I didn't find that it burn or sting. It does have a bit of like a lemon scent, which I kind of like, but I don't know that it's necessary in here. It has lemon peel oil, so I'm not totally sure about how good that is for your skin. I know for a long time I used to use literal lemons on my face with salt. I know that's not good, but I'm not as well versed in like lemon peel oil for the skin. Then this was interesting because the whole line to me seems like it's targeted towards oily skin, more acne prone skin, but when I tried this really feels a little out of place. So it is the Super Mask, a mask with soothing centella or centella acetica, I guess, probably butchering it. And this is supposed to be for comforting the skin, hydrating, any redness, but it's the texture of it. If you have an oily acne prone skin type, I don't know if you're gonna love it because it feels very thick, a little bit oily. If you have a drier skin type, I feel like you would like this, but it doesn't feel like it fits within the line. I feel like a clay mask would have been a better fit here, or even if it is going to be something hydrating, a little bit lighter, because both of those products that I mentioned are great for oily skin, and this is a super light moisturizer. This was the one that I was the most excited about and waiting for it to come back in stock. So it's the Super Hydrate, a moisturizer with hydrating squalane, and I have a squalane oil that I love. I mentioned it in my most recent drugstore skincare routine, and I've really been liking it. So this is a squalane infused gel moisturizer to quench your skin, maintain elasticity, and hydrate. So the texture of this, though, it's very weird. This doesn't really have any scent to it. It's like a gel, and like it'll pour out, but at the same time it's kind of like chunks come out almost like a jello. So if you have a really oily skin type, I think you're gonna like this in terms of texture because it is very, very light. If you have a more combo skin type, you may want to add an oil into it or something like that to add a little bit more moisture, or would act as a really great daytime moisturizer. But to me, like, this is just a weird fit in the line. It just feels very, very heavy. It's not that I didn't like it, but I feel like somebody who likes this wouldn't necessarily love this as much, or it doesn't feel like as cohesive of a line. But overall, I can't really say a lot about it because, you know, skincare takes a little bit more testing, but it is a great price, some cool ingredients in there, some great packaging. So, so far I have high hopes for it, but I'm not totally sure yet. I got two other moisturizers. This one launched a little while back, and again, the packaging really got me on it. It's the Hello Hydration Face Cream with hyaluronic acid peptide complex, and this is a little bit on the thicker side. I wouldn't say that it's a full-on cream like you kind of come to expect when you hear the term cream. That sounds like very, very thick, but it's definitely not a gel cream either. Again, I haven't had a lot of time to play with this because I am pre-filming videos before I go away, but it does seem like it is a nice texture. It's definitely thicker than the other ones. If you're looking for something that's light but still a cream, this could be a really great option. And then I picked this one up as well because it has an SPF in there. It is only an SPF of 15, but this is the e.l.f. Glow Radiant Moisturizer with coconut and hyaluronic acid, SPF 15. I think there's also shea butter in here, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's definitely thicker. At first I thought it was going to leave a white cast on my skin. I am wearing this today, but once I rubbed it into my skin, I thought that it looked good. It didn't leave a white cast, so I could absolutely wear it on its own. As for the radiance, I didn't notice like any, I was kind of expecting there to be like some shimmers or something in there, but I think it's just kind of a dewier, let me double check here. I think it is just kind of a dewier formula. I don't notice like any iridescence in there, but it did give like a nice kind of glow as opposed to something like the Squalane moisturizer that I mentioned that kind of just absorbs into the skin. It doesn't really add any dewiness. This added some dewiness. It doesn't feel super heavy, but again, if you have an oilier skin type, this may not be your favorite. They do have an oil control lotion in a similar packaging that will dry down a little bit more matte, but I still don't feel like this is something that's going to add a ton of hydration, so it is something that I feel like normal to combo people could still enjoy. Picked up two primers. One I totally forgot to use, but this is the Poreless Primer, and this is the mini version. I thought I would give this a try because if I do end up liking it, good for travel, but also I own a plethora of primers and I don't need any more, but I'm always curious to try more. So I picked this up. It has tea tree oil in there along with vitamin E, vitamin A, and this is kind of that typical primer feel. Like the first ingredient in here is silicone. It does have that tea tree scent, which I always appreciate as someone with acne prone skin. So I'm gonna need to keep testing it out. It does feel a little bit slippery, but it doesn't feel super, super greasy. And then this really interested me. It is like their under eye smoothing primer or something like that, and I totally forgot to use it. I did use the liquid highlighter that I picked up in this haul, which normally I forget to do. It's just such a creature of habit, you know, when you're incorporating a new thing into your routine, I really need to think about it because otherwise, like, I'm not gonna reach for it. So this has hyaluronic acid in there. It's kind of like a smooth, I wouldn't say putty texture, but like borderline putty. I'm not sure how much of a difference this is going to make on the under eyes. It's supposed to be if your under eyes are a little bit drier or if you have fine lines. And I feel like there's only so much we can do about fine lines under the eyes because gravity, unless you're going to get like fillers or something. But I am curious to test this out. They did have an under eye primer before, I think they did. Yes, it came in like a little tube, like a plastic one that looked like a MAC Pro Longwear concealer. Do you remember that? That was kind of just like a hydrating thing. So this is supposed to be a little bit more filling and perfecting. So I will have to test this out. I will say the packaging looks super cute. I know I'm commenting on the packaging, but it obviously gets me. But yeah, this is an interesting product, so I'm curious to try it. So I picked up the Flawless Finish foundation again. They've since extended the shade range and changed around all the names, which has kind of gotten a little bit confusing because I was looking up reviews and I couldn't tell, you know, is this the old, is this the new? Like, I wish they had either completely changed the names or left the old names the same, because it's like almond, previously this, previously that. And I'm like, that's just way too confusing. I don't know why you would do that. But anyways, I'm pretty sure I have, this is the old one that I purchased in my last haul in the shade Almond, and I bought Honey. I saw It's My Ray Ray had like a sponsored post with them, and I was like, oh my god, thank god, so I could see what shade she was wearing. I picked up Honey. It says tan with neutral undertones, and it's an oil-free satin finish. So this is the one I'm wearing right now. This is Honey. in the new shade, and then that is Almond in what I believe to be the older shade. So Almond is a little bit deeper, and I feel like Honey looks like a good match. I'm happy with that. And with it, I used their Total Face Sponge. So this got pretty gigantic when I wet it, and it says it can be used wet or dry. I never use my sponges dry, but it's really, really bouncy. I will say I kind of feel like it's almost a smidge too big, but I don't hate it. I've been loving the EcoTool sponge because it has like this nice flat side for the under eyes, and it plumps up really nicely. This is a little more porous, like you can kind of see, so I don't know if it's going to absorb more product, but that being said, it is a great beauty sponge. For a long time, Beauty Blender was out there undefeated, and while I still think that their sponges are excellent, the dupes that are coming out are much better. They aren't like the hard, really more or less unusable sponges that were out for a while. Like, they've got some competition now, so I think this is definitely a good option. It's a little bit big, but that's kind of like a personal preference thing. It wasn't unusable by any means, and for the foundation itself, I think it looks really good. I'm happy with the shade match. I will do a full review on it, but I do need to test it out some more, but I'm happy with the shade. I'm happy with the way it looks. I feel like I got a nice medium coverage, and this definitely seemed to like sheer it out a little bit, which I have no problem with. But as always, if you're looking to get more coverage, just use a denser brush. You could even use the like e.l.f. powder brush or the Flawless Finish brush. Those are two excellent brushes from them. But yeah, I feel like it almost looks like this has oxidized ever so slightly on my hand. But yeah, I'm happy with this shade match because it took me forever to figure it out. Moving into highlighter, I picked up the Jelly highlighter. This one is in the shade Do, and I was really happy with this. I bought one from Makeup Revolution a little while back. I mentioned that in a haul, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, mostly because of the shade. But I love the shade of this. I also like that it's jelly, but it's not too jelly, because when I was swatching them to do like my close-ups, when you go to rub it into the skin, it's so it doesn't have any like weird texture because it's jelly. That being said though, I was kind of fooled because when I went to put it on my face, I like dotted it all over my face, and it was not easy to blend out. So that leads me to believe it's going to be long wearing, but also you need to work quickly. Do not put dots on your face, play it cool, like do it section by section. I loved the finish. There's no glitter in there. Really impressed with this product. I feel like a jelly highlighter can seem a little bit gimmicky or a little too Instagrammy and not like an actual, like, is this a real product that we're really gonna use, people? But I really feel like this is something I'm gonna reach for. Even though it has that jelly texture, the finish on the skin was really beautiful. It was very metallic, but not chunky, not textured. So I was really impressed with this, and I love the shade too. So I was very happy. I wasn't expecting to like this, but really like it. So now let me go ahead and move you in for my eyes. I picked up these two palettes, which I have been eyeing. I think there's 3 in total. I didn't pick up the other one because, first of all, I don't need any more eyeshadow palettes, and these were the ones that intrigued me the most. So you'll actually see this palette in an upcoming Get Ready With Me because I didn't want to use them both in this video. So this one is the opposite Attract palette, and in my next like full face of new makeup kind of thing, you'll see this one in action if you're curious about it. But I feel like this is a really interesting selection of shades, has a good amount of mattes, of shimmers, and yeah, the shade range just intrigues me. It pleases me that it's a little bit different. It's still colorful but approachable, a little bit deeper tones. But the other palette that really got me was this one. I think, again, it's so interesting. It's called the 18 Hit Wonders. The silver in here, whoa. I almost reached for the silver today, but I was like, I feel like it's gonna be too much with my big curly hair and like silver eyeshadow. I don't know, it felt like a lot, felt a little too disco, but I really want to try and incorporate silver into a look at some point. This palette really pleased me. I thought the swatches were gorgeous. I love the look that I've come up with. This moss shade that I have here on the lid is really beautiful. I was really impressed with this. I think they're about $10 each. Of course, it's going to be American pricing. Oh, I meant to say, when I bought this order, I spent $150 on the e.l.f. website, which a few years ago, that would have been impossible when everything cost $1, and I'm okay with the prices going up. It is what it is. The products are better. They're cruelty-free, etc. But I paid $7.50 in shipping. And yes, I was spending $150. And is $7 gonna break the bank? No, but I think after $150, I should be getting free shipping. Like, I didn't pay customs at the door, which I will say I'm very happy about that. Historically, I've paid customs on e.l.f., so I'm happy not to pay customs. But I think after like I don't know, to Canada, like what is ColourPop? $50 is free or something like that. Like 150 bucks is a lot to spend, in my opinion, especially on that website of like more affordable makeup, and it's USD. So I'm really spending like closer to $200 Canadian. I don't know, I was really surprised at that. I don't expect to pay shipping pretty much ever unless it's something, either like I'm buying one of something and they tack on the shipping, or if it's like some weird obscure website. But I don't think that should be the case for e.l.f. If ColourPop can figure out what like that their shipping situation, like they now have good shipping over I think 50 bucks, they have sales all the time, and they have no more customs, I'm pretty sure, then e.l.f. should be able to figure it out as well. I mean, that didn't stop me from buying it, it's not going to stop me from recommending it, but in my opinion, like that's just kind of annoying. But anyways, I really like this palette, shipping aside. I should also say I picked up two primers, or one's a primer, one I figured I could use as a primer. This is the All Day Stay eyeshadow primer, and I like this. Again, I used it in the Get Ready With Me. I'm still testing it out. Feels like it's going to be a good option. I would say don't put too much of this on your lids because it feels a little bit greasy, but give it like 30 seconds to dry down a little bit, and then it acts as a nice primer. I was very hesitant about this the first time I used it because it felt so greasy, but I feel like it's going to be good, but I will of course have to test it out. And then I also picked up this nude linen liquid eyeshadow, which I figured could act as a nice base, especially because it has that nude color in there. There's not a lot of drugstore eyeshadow primers that aren't clear, or when they come out with like cream eyeshadows, they're always sparkly, like they're never like just a good kind of like beige base, which I prefer, or clear for my eyes. So I thought that this was interesting, and I haven't tried this out, but we will see on this one. I don't know if e.l.f. always does this, but I feel like a lot of the time I order, they throw in extra products. So they threw in like another highlighter, which I don't plan to use. I put that in the giveaway pile, but I thought this was pretty. It's a blush in the shade Brick Red. It has like a really nice kind of deep color to it. It reminds me of a Clinique blush that I have in Cherry Cola or something like that I like. I thought this was an interesting kind of like unique deeper shade, so I will need to play with that. The blush that I actually did buy is one of their luminous blushes in Surprise Surprise Radiant Peach. This adds a lot of glow. I will say it doesn't have as much pigmentation as I would like on the blush side. If you remember, I did like a blushes that make great highlighters video, and they really have that beautiful split of like, it's a blush, but it's also a highlighter, so you're getting color on your cheeks, but you're getting sheen, and it's just a really nice hybrid. Not to say that this is bad, but I felt like I was really having to build it up to get a lot of color, and I do like the color that came out. I liked the sheen that it had. It doesn't have like big chunks of sparkle in there, so it's not gonna like highlight your pores too much, so I do really like this, and there's a lot of beautiful shades, some really deep berries in there, and I was obviously really drawn towards the peach. And I mean, it's not even super peach, it's kind of like a little bit more red almost, or like pinky red, but it is really, really pretty. And for my highlight, I used this 24 karat gold highlighter. When I went to swatch this at first, I was worried. It felt really, really stiff, but then when I got it out of my hand, it looked beautiful, and I really love the look that it gave on the cheeks. I feel like the jelly highlighter could have stood up on its own as well, but I did pick up this highlighter, so I wanted to use it. And I have a lot of e.l.f. highlighters that I really like. I know I've been raving about the baked highlighter in Apricot Glow lately. So this one is more of like kind of a true gold. It's not too warm, not too cold, and I thought that this looked really pretty. So it feels very, very stiff in the pan, but it seems to perform quite nicely. And if you can't get the color up, try like a denser brush, or you could kind of like take like a eyebrow spoolie and kind of scrape over it. That's what some people do with the baked products, but I don't think that'll need to be done with this. It's just kind of like a really, really interesting texture, kind of like a gelée, like it's really hard pressed, but the product does come up and gives a really beautiful glow. Oh, I totally forgot about the mascaras. So I've been wanting to do like a full face of e.l.f. and I picked up these two mascaras because in the past, every mascara I've tried from e.l.f. hated. So I picked up the mascara primer, and then I picked up the Keep Your Curl. I like the finished look that I have, and I do feel like it made my lashes look curled, but I also feel like there could be a lot more volume, and I had to work really hard to get here. So definitely the best e.l.f. mascara that I've tried. Not one that I'm like, ooh, I need to incorporate this into my routine right away. I feel like e.l.f. really does a good job with most everything they do, but I've yet to be impressed greatly by one of their mascaras. So let me know if you found a mascara that you like, but this is definitely the mascara that I like the most that I've tried from them. And the primer actually seemed nice. It kind of reminded me in texture and look of the L'Oreal one, which you know is my absolute favorite. So again, I will need to keep testing out these products. I'm sorry that I haven't tested them all out. Oh my god, why do I keep forgetting things? I'm getting ready to leave the country in 2 days and I'm just so full of like anxiety for a million different reasons and I'm just all over the place, so I apologize. But the whole reason I placed this freaking haul was the e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer. I was a little worried when I put this on my face. The shade looked very bright and I like a bright under eye, but it was very, very bright. And although the shade range technically has a lot of shades in it, when I looked at them all swatched, I feel like they're definitely missing some shades in there still in terms of undertone. They're just a little bit too, I don't know, it's just definitely missing some shades. I think this is going to be the best shade for me based on what I've seen. I looked up a lot of swatches. This one is in Tan Sand, so I like it. I think it looks really, really good. I've tried e.l.f. concealers in the past and not liked them, drugstore concealers in the past, and they've all stepped up their game. They're all doing the chunky tube, chunky doe foot applicator, and I very much appreciate it. So I would love to see some more shades in here, but I really did like the end product of it. I thought looked really good, and the shade worked out for the most part. I could probably have a slightly better shade, but I don't think that one exists in the line, so I'm feeling like this is the one that I'm gonna go with. Unless you tend to wear the same concealer shades as me, let me know what you picked up, but this was the one that I grabbed, and so far I'm pretty impressed with this because it was very hyped up, but I still feel like the shade range could use a little bit of work. But anyways, I think I've talked about everything now, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!